Yeah, this race is not super fresh to me,
I know. I was like,
but
maybe it'll help that I'm
it's
watching
pretty
this. And then I only
chill.
watched through like lap. I don't know what. I'll tell you because I still have it up on my computer. 78.
It's so long.
It's so
Oh
long.
my
And it's like,
goodness.
you can hear the commentators be like, this is about to be a boring race.
This meeting of the Wheel Girls Club is now in session, where anyone can be a wheel girl. I'm Anne.
I'm Shelly.
And I'm Grace. Let's get into the race.
Monaco.
Monaco. I will say this is one of the Monaco races that I've enjoyed the most because I just found it funny.
Okay.
I found the whole two-stop strategy very thoroughly entertaining just because of how much people could mess with other teams.
I think it's the sort of thing where you're like, if they just do it this one time, it will be, yeah, it was interesting. Like, I think I saw Carlos Sainz talking about it after the race and saying, like, I enjoy a creative strategy. And this race involved Williams, especially employing creative strategies. But he was like, it's not good racing and it's not really fun to do. And so that's why I'm
Yeah.
like, I hope they're not like, let's do this again. I'm like, once was enough, I think.
Yeah, but I feel like because I'm not super emotionally invested in any of the teams, I just found it like entertaining and funny from an outsider's perspective of, oh, look at this ridiculousness that is going on because Monaco is so ridiculous to try and pass somebody. And the teams are like, they're just taking advantage of this, like the strategy that is available to them. There's nothing in the rule book that says they can't do this.
Yeah.
And again, because I'm not like super emotionally invested in any of the particular teams, I just find it funny.
Okay.
Keyword not invested in any
Right.
team.
Like
I don't think it's
if
that
you are
I'm
a
not that
giant
I'm too
McLaren
invested
fan,
that I'm like, oh, this is why it wasn't a good race. It's like they can't pass. They can't do anything except back up into each other. Which agree, like, yes, I'm like, that was a creative strategy one time. If they do it again, it's not great watching. I never say
I
races
agree
are
with
boring,
that.
but like it is not good watching. Like you're watching it and you're just watching them drive slower and slower.
But it's odd well, drivers say it's like one of their like
Favorite races.
favorite races, and you're like, wait, okay.
Okay. Okay, so I want to do a what would you do to improve Monaco? I talked to Sarah about this, and I think George Russell had said sprinklers that the drivers can hit to turn on at a certain point in the track. Was that it? But only like once in qualifying the race or free practice.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm intriguing. I think I asked Sarah this question and I'm not going to remember what she said. Oh, I
She said
think
something about doing qualifying only, right?
yes.
Or
She said do qualifying only and
that
don't
makes
even bother
sense.
having the race. I said it's all the same drivers, it's all the same teams, but they have to create one go-kart and they have to go kart Monaco because that is something that they do. Is like they do karting races in Monaco, which is how some. So I'm like, let them go kart. Then they could pass. Then it could be such an interesting weekend.
Would you have all the points still count towards the
Yep.
same championship?
Yep.
Drivers and constructors.
Yep. It's just one race. It's like a rain race. It's not like we're like, well, it rains, so we take it off the calendar because obviously those results are chaos.
It's a small track, get a smaller car.
They need smaller
That's
cars. Everyone
His
keeps being
go-kart
like, the
idea
cars
is
are too big. So
interesting,
I'm like,
right?
well, how about a cart?
That's pretty good.
And I feel like the drivers would love like didn't I think there was
Just
like
shake it up.
Yeah, just shake it up. Do something a little different. They can really race each other. It's a little less precious about the cars because obviously, like this weekend, it was like if you even attempted a pass, you were probably going to crash and like you were going to ruin your whole race.
I
Hmm.
saw
So there's
something that the only person who did an on-track pass after the first lap was Lance Stroll. There
stop,
was
man.
one
I can't
on-track
take you
pass the
serious.
entire race.
Who did he pass?
I don't know.
Fernando.
Uh, who knows about that man?
He was
I don't
I
know. I
would
feel
really,
like
say,
it would be really difficult to get the teams to agree to this because like if you are, let's say you're Haas and
yeah.
Kick Sauber decides to put all of their time, money, and effort into winning the Monaco
Yeah. The
kart
karting
race,
championship.
they could get 25 points and pass Haas in the championship.
Yeah. So that's like, and then they maybe there should be like a portion of the budget that's like you can use this much for the karting in that race. Or
Maybe.
they just decide, how much money is it worth it to try to win this race? But and it's
mhm.
also like a bigger risk because it seems like it would be more of a like equalizer of the drivers because there's so much ability to pass. It's a little bit less precious about like worrying about will the cart last through the race?
I
Yeah,
would
I don't know. That's an
say
interesting idea.
that they just need to do some adjustments to the track. Like
What are you gonna have them
How would you
do?
adjust it, Shelley?
whoever they need to, whether it's like widening a little bit here, there, like
But I don't think they
me
can
being
because
I
it's
don't think they
literally on the
physically
realistic.
street.
can.
I'm just saying, do what they need to do. It's a rich place. They can invest whatever money for the infrastructure to change the track a
Shelley's ready for
bit.
them to take out the dynamite and take out some
I'm,
of the cliffs
yeah, I'm like,
to
do
expand the
something with
track.
that money because it's a boring race and maybe they have like a portion of it that's like attached to a boat that like locks
Well,
into the land and they can go on that and
attached to
there's
a
a
boat, and
place
that's where they can
a
pass.
yacht one of their yachts, I don't know, like
I have
let's be creative.
heard that Hungary is basically the track version of Monaco. It's a very
Hmm.
similar track layout, but I think the racing is better at Hungary. It's still not the most interesting race, but it's way better than Hungary because they can pass.
Yeah.
It's not like you're risking the entire race to try to pass. That's why
Yeah.
I'm like,
Hmm.
they just need either they need to change the requirements for the cars so they're smaller again, or they need to get in the go-karts. Or they need to get in the go-karts.
Wait, are the 26 cars smaller?
I don't know,
I think they are,
honestly.
but not by that much.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Well, and I feel like in the past few years there has been rain during Monaco, which then usually makes you be like, that was still a pretty good race. But like a sunny day.
Yeah, well, I mean, when Checo won Monaco, it seemed like this dramatic, exciting race because he had started in fourth. Or
Mm-hmm.
was it third or fourth? Either way. And then he ends up winning the race because Ferrari screwed up the strategy with the rain and all of that. There were still very few passes
Yeah.
that happened during that race, even as like some drivers were on inters and some drivers were on slicks and everything.
But it still was a more interesting race. I'm not saying that, which
Yeah.
is not to say, I don't know. I'm just like, it needs fixing.
And those are our options, so
Mhm.
somebody get on it. Charles,
Yeah.
get on it. You want to win, be a part of the change. This is your home. Um, yeah, qualifying.
Quality was good. Quality was fun.
Alvine was good. What happened to Alex Albon in Q3?
I don't even know.
I feel like they didn't even say, and I was just like, oh, 10th.
Yeah. Well, because there was so like the people at the front were so close together that it was like
Yeah.
very, very dramatic and uncertain about who was going to get pulled and all of that. Which, in terms of like why they weren't focusing on Alex ending up in 10th, that makes sense. But yeah, I don't know what happened with Alex.
Well,
Maybe
especially because
because
wasn't
of
he in like third or second in Q2?
He was third,
Yeah.
which I mean, the top teams usually save like better
Yes, I
engine
understand
modes
that,
and
but
new tires. That Williams is not necessarily saving. No, I feel like Williams at a lot of tracks this season has been like close to an equal par with Mercedes, which is crazy.
this week
Mercedes
was
and
definitely
Ferrari,
like
really.
that.
What?
This week they were definitely close to a Mercedes since they were backing them up. Okay, what did
Mhm.
you think about the Bordelotto Kimi crash? Very beginning. Virtual safety car.
I think they blame or they were trying to blame Kimmy, but there was room. So, I
Yeah.
mean, it just is what it is. We didn't I don't really watch it, but I did see the big crash for F2,
Hmm.
where there's like that pile up. And I think maybe that really put the fear in all the drivers. They're like, we're not going to crash. We don't want to crash. And so,
Yeah.
but
And
those two are
then
the rookies that did. So,
Pierre and Yuki breaking up
well,
the friendship.
and Esteban being out again, so sad. Anyways,
Esteban,
he's
he's trying his
never,
best.
yeah. Um, what are your thoughts on Franco? It's been kind of quiet on his front. I don't know if it's the Alpine.
I feel like
You're gonna
you,
blame it on
yeah,
the Alpine.
blame it on the Alpine. No, I think it's like the Alpine is tricky, and he seems like he's doing just as well as Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's true. I maybe had hopes that he was going to be better than Jack, but maybe it
I
is the
I
Alpine.
think I'm kind of into the idea of them being like 5 races from Jack, 5 races from
Grace,
what, and then back to Jack, and then back. Why
that's
not if they're
so
allowed to?
terrible for the
They're both
drivers.
basically rookies. They're trying to like get both of them some good experience to kind of
I
tease
don't think
out who they
that's
want
the way
to.
Flavio's trying to paint it. And they're telling him he can't do that. Or
Who
there's
told
some
them?
rule against switching out like a certain amount of drivers for your seat. So,
Is there?
What?
yeah, I think there's some regulation about it can't be like a open seat essentially. So maybe he's trying to get around it, but um it's just like the way that this man was like in charge of a team, banned from F1, then invited
Yeah.
back, and now is owning another team again. And you're just like, okay, yeah, sure, bring him back in. And
Bring him back in. He's
he's a
gonna
new
try and
man, right?
he's a new man.
Probs not.
Oh, okay. Did you love the number of cut twos Jeff Bezos? I mean, I guess I know that
Oh.
Amazon is a sponsor, but horrible. Awful.
Yeah, I didn't see that, but it does not
You didn't
surprise
see that? It
me.
was constant. It was like every 10 minutes, cut to Jeff Bezos. Cut to
I
Jeff
only noticed it
Bezos.
a couple of times, but I was also really tired when we were watching it.
You have
Yeah,
both disappointed me. I was getting angrier and angrier each time.
I'm fine with it.
Shelly.
um, yeah, what else? It was kind of crazy the performance of Charles this weekend, just with
Crazy
the
good, crazy bad.
all of it. It's like a mixed bag because
Good.
like you're like Ferrari's been doing not great this season, but then like all of a sudden Charles will like lock in and he always is like pulling out surprises for this car that I'm like that's it's just like magic. And so he kind of was pulling that this weekend, especially in free practice, like being in the top and then like losing out in quali was heartbreaking. And then at the end of the race, just like hoping that some sort of shenanigan was going to happen and he's going to pass
Yeah. It
Lando.
was a little wild
I
to me that he didn't really try to pass Lando.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the mindset
I
was.
mean,
And
I think the
Max was
mindset was we
assisting.
are supposed to get points.
we are supposed to get points, but
Don't
he,
crash this car.
I wonder if there was, I didn't get to look at it closely, nor have I been in a F1 car on that circuit, but I'm like, is there not any way to
Any?
make it happen? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Max was trying to, do some sort of petty stuff to put Lando under pressure. So I surely thought something was going to happen and it did not. So
I
it
mean, and to
was,
give Lando credit, I think he drove a very good race.
he did.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um,
No
I feel like
yips.
Charles deserves a lot of credit just for getting his Ferrari to second place on the grid. Like
that's what I'm
Ferrari
saying.
has, like they've just been stuck back in like seventh and eighth a lot of the
Well, and
season.
Hamilton was did pretty
He
well
was
too.
up there
Oh
until
yeah,
he got his penalty, which
What was his penalty for?
impeding Max.
Stop.
whereas Lance
Shelly.
crashed into Charles, and I think Lance got like a one place penalty. So I'm just
Yeah, a
like,
single place grid
okay.
drop.
Anyways,
They should have kicked him out of the weekend.
yeah. I've been seeing the heat though that fans have been bringing onto the Ferrari team because in the last kind of rounds, Lewis over his radio talking to the team, I guess to Ricky specifically, asking,
Yes.
are you upset with me? And no response. And I, and so Fred, I know Fred and his whole
Fred
thing
came
being
out with a
like,
statement being like, it's all
it's
fine.
still, it's still partly, the driver and our car. And you're like, I think it's the car. Like something is not working. And I don't know. Yeah. So the
What do you think
I
about
feel
team,
like
that?
yeah,
The Ricky
internally,
versus Hamilton of it all.
that's how it goes. This is a story that we've seen play
Yes,
out.
Shelly.
And
We've seen it before.
yeah, a
Where?
new rookie comes in and
New
is
rookie. It's
performing better
Hamilton.
than performing better than a world champion. It's hard to watch, but it happens. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I am hurting for Lewis, and I'm like, I wonder if he's gonna take it, I guess.
Honestly, this year it feels like Ferrari and Mercedes are pretty equally matched in that they're neither of them are that good.
I
yeah.
don't feel that way.
Tell us what you feel, Shelly.
I think Mercedes has had like a few bad runs, but for the most part, I mean, George has been up there on the podium a few times, and Kimi has also
It's
done pretty
true.
well. Whereas Ferrari consistently is in the back until this race.
That's not
Um,
true because didn't Hamilton win a sprint race?
one
Yeah,
sprint
Hamilton
race,
did win a sprint race, but that
Well,
was like the
okay,
one
Hamilton won a
highlight
sprint
Ferrari has
one
had.
race.
off.
Charles has been on the podium twice.
I think this is his first one.
No, this is his second podium.
Okay, second.
And then if we're going with Mercedes,
George has
like
been up there
George,
like 3 times.
okay, so one more time. And then
Uh,
Kimmy's gotten pole at a sprint.
Hmm. Okay.
I just think the
Yes,
car
Anne,
is
give us the
performing
stats.
better.
I can see Anne's
Mc
ready.
McLaren has 319 points for constructors. Mercedes has 147. Red Bull has 143. Ferrari has 142.
They're all pretty
All
close.
three are
And
really
the
evenly
reason Red
matched.
Bull is so bad is because their second driver cannot come to grips with that car, which I'm not blaming the
Yes.
second driver on. That's actually a Red Bull problem, but
Yes.
like Red Bull could be so dominant if they could create a car that more than one person could drive.
Hmm.
Red Bull could actually compete with McLaren if they could create a car that more than one person could drive.
Hmm. I agree.
And that's the problem with prioritizing a single driver over two drivers.
I think the car should be drivable by both drivers. I just think a team needs to be prepared when push comes to shove, their eggs in one
It's
basket.
all about the culture, though, Anne. And the culture has to be like, we're all working on this together. The goal is for everyone to succeed. And at the last minute, you guys can race. Photo finish.
You guys know who's in fifth in the constructors?
Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Williams has done very well considering, but I'm sure they're still way far back compared to those other three teams.
Yeah, they're like 53.
Yeah.
But the next team behind them is Haas, and they're like, I think it was 28.
20. Yeah. And 20 of those points are
Ollie.
Esteban's.
Oh, that's sad.
I'm not
I
saying
thought Ollie was doing better.
I think Ollie is doing well, but I think Esteban has had like two very lucky races, and that got Haas the majority of their points.
And it has
Versus
not been reported.
what?
It's not been reported on my screen.
No.
I haven't heard anything about Esteban.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Esteban got what, fifth in one race and I don't know what in another. He's had a couple good finishes, but he's also had a few like DNFs.
Haas tends to be either good or really bad. And well, they've had one or two weekends where they've been really good, and then either they've had bad luck or strategy that's killed them.
Because last weekend Haas did well, right?
Yes, Haas did well in Imola. But, okay, can we talk about George Russell losing it?
Yeah, tell us, Annie.
I found it so funny.
I do wonder if it's easier to kind of like go off like that when it's actually your friend.
Maybe. Because it was like, so Carlos had backed everybody else. Alex did his two pit stops and then they flipped.
Yeah.
And when George really lost it is
Was
when
that the
Alex
flip?
then started backing everybody up for Carlos to be able to get his two pit stops. So, I mean, George and Alex are very good friends.
Yes.
They've now gone out to dinner and like all of that. So
To a drive-through. No.
I feel like there is a point to it is easier when it's a good friend and like you're gonna be able to say like, hey, I was
Angry in the
I was
moment.
angry in the moment. I was acting like an idiot. But it was very
You think that's how they
entertaining.
apologize? I don't think they say I was acting like an idiot.
No.
No.
I
No.
think they're like
Pass me.
begrudgingly respect.
Yeah.
But I'm still I was mad when it happened. But
Yes.
begrudging respect. That's what
Yes.
that's what's happening in my brain when they see each other after.
I think I agree with that assessment. But well, and I found it so funny when George decided like, "Ah, this is stupid. I'm just gonna pass Alex and take the penalty because the penalty is way less annoying than sitting behind Alex the whole time."
Wait, and so this is the part of the race that I missed. So he passed Alex.
Yes, he cut the chicane
Oh, he cut the chicane. I heard this,
to
but I
be able to
didn't see
pass
it.
Alex. And then they, as a penalty for him doing that, gave him a drive-through penalty, and you have to serve that within a certain number of laps. So he ended up
That
behind
sucks.
Alex again.
Yeah.
And then
Did he say out
Mercedes
loud,
did,
I'm just gonna serve the penalty?
yes.
I'm cutting the chicane. I'm passing him.
Well, it was after he had cut the chicane and the team was telling him, like, you need to give the place back to Alex. And he's like,
I'll
I'd
take
rather
the
just take the penalty. And
Passing
then
him.
Mercedes did the exact same thing where they backed up the rest of the pack for
Yeah.
the two of them to be able to take turns pitting.
Wait, and then Mercedes, did they even get points?
No,
Oof.
I think they finished 10th, or basically they got 1 point and finished 10th and 11th.
I think, unless
Or they
I'm
finished
wrong, I
11th
think
and 12th.
Williams was 9th and 10th. There was not a lot of movement because Williams started 10th and 11th.
Yeah.
And I
And
think
I
the only
know-
person who lost out, maybe it was Fernando, who had been in the top 10 for qualifying, who finished out of the top 10.
Oh, yeah, what happened to
Got a
Fernando?
DNF.
I think Fernando's literally trying to see like how long can I go without a point. He's like, I've
Years. Some drivers never get a point.
yeah. I was enjoying at the beginning of the race when Hulk was trying to pass Carlos, when Carlos was starting to be like, we're about to back up. And then I was like, yellow flagged. Like, let them race. Put them in those go-karts. Or
Yeah.
they could make miniature versions of the F1 cars just for Monaco.
I want to talk about Isaac Hajar. He's been doing
What
really
a great,
great.
Yes.
yes,
Great
I love.
rookie, great racing.
He has had such an impressive rookie year so far.
He's a slow
Mhm.
burn too. Like he was like, he's not flashy. He's just like, let me just consistently turn in some good results every week.
And
Is
he's
the
got a,
racing bull good? Is that also a part of what's going on?
yes, Racing Bull is pretty good. Um,
Uh,
he's also just like such a fun kid. It
Don't call
makes
him
it
a
all very
kid.
enjoyable. He's like 20 years old.
Don't you should feel like you should be sensitive to the fact that people probably consider him a kid because he's short?
okay. Okay. Well, this race, Lawson really came into
Shelly's like,
play
we're
of
gonna blow right.
helping out Isaac with the win. So I'm loving this kind of redemption
This is Liam's
Liam
first
is
point
getting.
of the season.
Yeah, I think so. Right?
I think it was
Good
his
for
first
him.
points.
Mhm.
Good for Liam Lawson.
I have watched or seen on the underground of Lando and his girlfriend,
Oh my
presumably
God.
like
Yes, they were
play
like
out.
Lando's partner, and I'm like, who is this?
It's
I
been
know.
rumored for a couple years now, and like
Years.
the Lando
Years.
girlies, yeah, they're like piecing together things. And like they are dating, and it's like, no, they're not
Oh, this is
dating.
the
Yes, they
friend.
are dating. And then it was official this weekend where she's now at the paddock, and now yeah, it's like okay, things are official, and that's as much as I know on that front. But I know some of the Lando girls are mourning
In mourning.
because
Okay.
he's off the market. And
I
Lewis was
like
also seen with a woman this weekend.
that's a
So,
shocker.
yeah, it was. And he was trying to apparently hide. And then he's like, I can't. They got me. So then he came out. So I thought that was kind of funny.
I love that. I heard some okay, I didn't actually hear anything about the girlfriend except for what I saw on television when I watched the race when they were like, and Lando Norris's partner. And I was like, what? And
Mm-hmm.
then I did what I saw on social media, which for me is just Tumblr, was someone being like, someone doxed his house this
There
weekend.
was, yeah,
Yeah,
there
isn't
was
that
doxing
awful?
on like Carlos, Charles, Lando.
Oh my
Why do
gosh.
people do stuff like that?
I don't know.
I feel like it's
Yeah.
one
And
Wild.
thing.
okay, I know this isn't a Williams fan cast, but did either of you watch Team Torque?
No.
Yes.
Okay, it
On
was
the boat with
hilarious.
DC.
They talked about
So
shaving their
funny.
legs. They talked
To
about
help win.
yes.
Okay. Just want to
And
make
then they had a
sure.
whole conversation about like, oh, I shaved my whole body a month ago, and all it was so
Well,
detailed,
that was
Shelley.
something that Nico did. Nico Rosberg did for his. Am I
To
Stop.
making
win his
that up?
championship.
I believe
Yeah, it
that.
was like working out, shaving his body.
Shaving my whole body.
I think I'm making that up. Okay, keep
I
No,
going.
think they mostly do it for biking, actually. But they were also saying like, oh, it helps if you get like if you fall when you're biking, it heals better when you don't have hair. And then, I don't know. And then they were talking about becoming a matcha boy. Like Carlos was
Yes.
saying his girlfriend's trying to turn him into a matcha boy, but he's a coffee boy. And then they talked about um how Carlos and Alex used to live next to each other. And
He
Alex
moved.
used to live in DC's apartment. But then DC was like, I had to ask you to move because I was going through divorce and I needed a place to. It was so intimate. I was
he's
like,
so funny.
I'm obsessed.
Wait. Let me. So it used to be Alex's apartment used to be DC's.
No,
Right. And
Alex
Alex
used
was
to live in
renting it
DC's
from
apartment.
DC.
Oh, he is. So then when
He
DC was going
was.
through his divorce, he needed it back. That
He
is
needed it back. Then Alex had to find
crazy.
another place, and he was like, I've never
How is
lived
that
anywhere that
Williams
I liked as
money?
much as I liked DC's apartment. And so then he was asking, because he was like, I still don't really like where I live. And Carlos used to live like across the hall from him, but
Yeah.
he's moved and he was like, "Do you like your new place?" And Carlos was like, "Yeah, I redid the bathroom and the kitchen. It's older, but I like the way I redid it. It feels like a home." And then they started talking like remodeling, and I was like, "What is happening?" But Carlos said he really likes his new home. And then Alex was
You
like,
know,
"How am I ever gonna find?" He said he had literally been looking at apartments like this weekend.
it's so wild to me. Like we because of like last year's like Charles kind of documentary thing of his win, you got to see inside of his home. Similar to Oscar, like he's done post-win interviews on for Australian news channels in like his spare bedroom where his sim thing is set up. And you're like, these apartments are just it's interesting
They're
because I'm
giving
like, they're
college
not,
boy apartment.
yeah, they're not like glamour. It is weird. It is an interesting style of architecture. Obviously, it's in a different country than America. So like your gauge for like expensive, nice is like different, but it's very wild to have seen some of these apartments, luxury apartments, and you're like, oh, that's it. And they're paying so
It's
much for
all
it.
for like the tax bennies, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it
And they're not
is.
spending the majority of their time in
In
Monaco
those, yeah.
because they're traveling constantly.
But technically, it's their home.
Yeah.
Monaco is home. Otherwise, they can't get those
Yes.
benefits. Like I've seen, and maybe we've talked about this, but Pierre, because he is French, he does not qualify for the Monaco benefits. So he does
Oh,
not live in Monaco. I think he
Oh, does he
lives
still have,
elsewhere.
is he still living in Italy?
I don't remember, but I just know that he does not because he's a French citizen. He does not qualify for the tax write-offs for being a Monaco citizen. So he may have like a spot there, but he's not a resident of Monaco. I'm like, that
Hmm.
sucks. Uh,
yeah.
but
I
I'm
bet
I'm kind of surprised the Williams money is
boys can
letting them,
afford.
yeah, letting Carlos do a remodel.
I think he
He
probably
also
made a lot
has
when he was at
Ferrari money.
Ferrari.
He saved up.
Yeah. He strikes me as a saver.
Yes.
Stop.
Yeah, he
Um,
strikes me as someone who is on top of his investments.
I will say, okay, to go back to the partners of it all, I do I'm gonna speak on Carlos's partner now, Rebecca, and I get very good energy from her. I love that she's always like at the race. She's in the mix with all the friends. I feel like she's on the I feel like he has a group of friends that really give me strong like boys who prank energy. I know. I'm not saying that's
The
a good
boys that
thing,
he
but
goes
that
bike
is
riding with.
yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like she seems like she's in on the pranks. It seems like she's in the group, and I love that. She's in the mix. I have a theory about Carlos Sainz that he has like a Taylor Swift level love of like the UK. Like, you know how Taylor Swift's obsessed with like a London boy? She likes a boy from the UK. I think that Carlos is the same
but Rebecca's from Scotland.
from the UK.
UK.
Oh, I guess.
And
I don't
And
know
his
his
last
record.
trainer was British, and he loves like he loves Lando and his little British accent. He does. He says
I
he's
mean,
Uh,
he moved to London or to England for several years when he was at
and
McLaren.
if
yeah,
they had
these
better guacamole, he
boys.
would have stayed. No.
It was the fajita mix, Grace.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But yeah. Well, good for Lando. Good for him for taking his time, keeping it private. And I think it's just my only statement on the doxing is like, why? Why? It's so awful. Like,
Uh,
leave people alone. There's just no need for
they're
it.
still actual people,
Yeah.
so it's not fair.
It's not nice to be annoying at the racetrack, but like at least you're doing it in the right location.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Is that too heavy-handed?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think in Monaco, there's like some sort of law that paparazzi aren't allowed or something too. But
Well,
yeah,
and what I saw
fans
about
did
the
it.
Lando doxing was like that some fans asked to take a picture with him and he said no because his home would be in the background and he didn't want to get doxxed that way. So then they were like, "Oh, this is his address," and like posted it.
Is that Gen Z? Probably.
That's
Uh,
Gen A.
Gen Alpha.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a bummer. But guess what? Oscar still sits in a
Shelly,
unknown
but
little
guess what?
pocket. He's still like slightly forgotten out of the spotlight. Like, so that
That's
sucks for the
definitely
big
a
My
ones.
prediction is it is going to be tight between Oscar, Lando, and Max the entire championship.
which is awesome.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be fun.
Is it awesome?
Well, I mean, that's like good
Uh,
for like you want a competitive season. That seems very competitive.
Hmm.
it's stressful for me, but yes, I like to see it.
That's because you're too big of a fan, Shelly. That's why you couldn't
It's just
enjoy
too
Monaco.
much. Yeah, you're like, if he's not number one, I don't want to see it. I only ever want to see him in
Stop.
Oh,
number
sh-
one. And I also am not. There will be a day where I have to rage where they're like, we're gonna prioritize Lando because that's what they always do, and it's like Oscar clearly is world champion right now, and he's trying to make that case for himself. So it's gonna be rough if it plays out the other way and they push for Lando. So
I think if Oscar continues leading the championship and McLaren starts doing things to favor Lando, there's going to be outrage from a
yes,
lot of McLaren fans.
yeah,
But
I think they
hopefully
try
we
really
won't get to
hard to
that.
be fair, and I think they will try to
Yeah.
continue doing that. And that will
Yeah.
still draw outrage because people will be like, you should start prioritizing someone. And they'll be
Yeah.
like, we helped Oscar last race, so this race we have to help Lando.
uh, yeah, we'll
Any more
see.
thoughts on Monaco? Where's the race this weekend?
Guess where?
Spain. Oh,
Is it Barcelona?
Yeah.
So fun.
get
So fun.
ready. I'm reminiscing on our Canada trip.
I know.
Oh.
Feels wrong to be missing it.
Should we pick a fall race, Shelly, and go? You quit
I'm
your
gonna be too
job.
busy, but maybe you guys should go to Austin together.
Austin. Austin. I
I'm
want to
getting
go
freaked
somewhere
out about
exciting.
Texas.
Yeah. Then I feel like it's like scary to leave the country right now.
Yeah.
Oop.
Scary to enter Texas right now.
Scary to enter Texas, scary to leave the country.
mm,
Okay.
that's
What if
it.
we went to
Oh,
That's it. I'm like, let's look at races, Shelly. I am really like, I really, really want to go to Borneo right now. Singapore would get me very close.
What inspired this trip to Borneo, Grace?
I really need to go eat some fruit.
Grace just travels where she can get cool, delicious, fresh fruit.
Yeah.
I would go back to Maui.
You want to go to Kauai? There's no race there.
No race, but I would go back to Hawaii. That's, I guess, what I'm just putting out there.
Okay. Let me work on
Uh,
something.
oh my
All
gosh.
right. Well,
Okay.
thank you for joining us, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe, and this meeting of the Wheel Girls Club is officially adjourned. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.